Hey there traders, thanks for joining me for this video from thestockbandit.com. I just want to recap last week's trades. It was the 9th week of the year, and I took a number of trades. I had some winners, and I got stopped out on a number of different trades as well. And so that's just kind of the numbers game of trading that I play. I understand that by keeping tight stops and by managing my risk very tight, I know that I'm going to get shaken out of some good trades, but I also know that it's going to reduce my risk on a trade-by-trade basis and a week-by-week basis. So when I get cold and I get stopped out on a number of trades, it doesn't do that much damage, but at the same time, it also makes it very easy to cover a number of those small losses with some decent gains. So let me just walk you through the trades I took last week. Up first on Monday, took a couple of day trades. Devon Energy, really nice surge higher, and then this kind of narrowing price action here. So we had this bull pennant pattern. I wanted to get long on the breakout, looking for some continuation. I didn't get it. I broke, this thing broke this trend line here at 76. I bought it, and then it failed. I took my 1% stop loss, which is in keeping with my day trading strategy as found on the site. I also took this PF Chang's PFCB for a trade on Monday, and I went long at 38.10 on this trend line break right here, and it made a little bit of progress, but then it reversed lower, stopped me out for a 1% loss. It ultimately did finish a little bit closer to that trend line by the end of the day, but again, I'm all about managing my risk. So a couple of very small losses on Monday. On Tuesday, I highlighted this Goldman Sachs. I've been pointing to this 118 level, which it ultimately broke on Thursday, but I took this for a trade on Tuesday as it broke through that 118 the first time. 118.25 was the trigger price I took for a long entry as a day trade. The breakout was pretty short-lived. It made minor progress, then it turned around and handed me my 1% loss. So I'm not going to stick around if these trend line breaks begin to fail. Also took this Citigroup on this trend line break right here at 33.10. This is again on Tuesday. This thing ran 51 cents, and then it kind of drifted sideways into the rest of the session. I took a 37-cent gain at the closing bell, so made a little bit more than 1%, and so that obviously covered the Goldman trade where I lost 1%. So again, kind of a hit and miss type of a day on Tuesday. On Wednesday, Shutterfly was on my radar, and it had broken out the prior day on Tuesday, and then I was just looking for some continuation through Tuesday's high, expecting that this thing could gather some momentum. So on Wednesday, I bought this at 28.25, and I was looking for some continuation. It went 25 cents, so it went almost 1%, and then it reversed lower, and I stopped out for a 1% loss. So it was never up enough to really book a profit, and ultimately shook me out. It headed lower Wednesday and then into Thursday, and then had news on Friday, which popped it pretty good, but I was not around for that trade. Also on Wednesday, I took this CLF on a breakdown through support. I was looking at this 64.70 level, got short through there. Initially it kind of hesitated, but then it gave a really smooth sell-off into this low down here, 62.91. So it made a $1.79 move, and it's a 2.7% run. Really nice little swift move right there, nice and easy, good trade. Also took this SIMO as it broke this small rising trend line here on Wednesday. Shorted the break of the 18 level, and then just kind of made a late day trigger, so it didn't have a whole lot of time to work, but made it an easy little move into the 17.80 level, so just over 1% gain there. Decent little trade. Another one was on Thursday. I had highlighted this level for subscribers at 44.25. Was looking for this thing to just show some continuation to the upside, some nice momentum, and it did do that. On Thursday, it cleared this 44.25 level, so I bought it on that trend line break, had a great initial surge higher, and then it consolidated some. In fact, let me just show you the intraday chart here. I'll zoom out. Here's that initial push through that trend line, and then it consolidated here into the afternoon, turned a little bit higher, and ultimately made a move up to this 46.50 area. So really nice surge higher there. That was a $2.25 move. 5%. So that's a great run. Very nice day trade. And then it showed some continuation again on Friday. So a stock that's showing a lot of momentum and definitely one to keep on the radar. Also on Thursday, I took this SLG. I was watching this trend line right here. I wanted to get long on a break through 76.6 for a multi-day high, just expecting that this thing could kind of accelerate up. But as it broke that trend line, it really was not able to make much progress. It kind of gave me a head fake, stopped me out for a 1% loss. Ultimately, it did turn back up a little bit without me, but I was gone by that point out of the trade. Then came Friday, and I took several trades on Friday. These were day trades as well. I had highlighted this SHLD, which is Sears Holding, and I was watching a lot of recent momentum in the stock, minor pullback, and given the fact that this thing had only pulled back a very short period of time, it maybe needed more rest, but I noted for subscribers that all this recent momentum may not allow it to rest much. So I wanted to get long on a trendline break at 70.3, which I got, and then let me just show you the intraday chart here. That was right here on this trendline break, and so it headed initially higher and then turned back around, stopped me out. It headed even lower than that and kind of tested that opening bar low, and then it turned and reversed huge. So those who gave this one a second chance through that 70.3 level caught an excellent move, and hopefully you were one of them as this thing headed all the way back up to the 76.6 level for the high. So initial trade failed, but then second chance trade had a really good move. ICE is another one that I took. I wanted to take it on a breakout through this level right here, 140.75 on the breakout. It went $1.15. I had given this thing a $1 stop, so it did make some initial move higher, and then it did reverse lower, so stopped me out on the remainder of my position there. But again, this initial move was very spiky. We see this move right here. It's not the type of move that's the sustainable 45-degree type of angle move. This was a quick vault higher and then a very harsh shakeout type of move back to the downside. So definitely not the type of move I was expecting through this level. But again, it showed some initial strength, offered an opportunity there to book something, and then reverse lower. Also took this SPW on this trendline break right here, 75.10 is where that was. This thing only went like 38 cents, and then it reversed lower, stopped me out for my 1%. So some of these trendline breaks are starting to fail. I need to be taking note of that as a trader. But then I also took this WLT, which I had highlighted with this support zone. This thing had recently sold off and then been unable to bounce for the past 2-3 weeks or so, and so I wanted to short this thing if it undercuts 63.9. Got that break intraday. It was a real easy hold into the 62.07 area where it finally found some support. So a $1.83 move. Nice little trade there, and definitely still looks like it's got room to head lower, possibly to test this 57 area where it had prior support. So that's another one certainly to keep on the radar. And then finally, I did close out one swing trade last week, and as I noted here last week, I've been holding some swing trades, but I only highlight them in these recap videos because I only discuss them with subscribers while I'm in the trades. So I did close out one swing trade last week. It was in this GRA. I had taken this thing on a breakout here through 56.10 a couple of weeks ago, and the initial breakout was decent, but you see where the bar finished, or where price finished on that initial breakout bar, and then we saw really no follow through here. This thing just kind of moved sideways here for the next few days, and then it just gradually started upticking, but volume was really absent here on the way higher on this break, the way that it had been really present here during this previous run. So I wanted to see stronger volume. When I didn't see it, I started noting this uptrend line here over the past several days. And that's really what I used to tighten my stop. So I got taken out of this trade on Friday as this thing undercut that trend line. I booked a 1% gain, so it was a modest gain at that. But for a trade which never materialized the way I had expected, with this big momentum in price and then this type of explosive looking setup, I'm happy to book a gain for a trade that never really panned out the way I expected. So again, if you're looking for some ideas to add to your own and you're not a subscriber at thestockbandit.com, come on over to the site and check us out. We'd love to show you why traders from all over the globe have found value in our service. Thanks for joining me for this video. I will have more for you soon, but in the meantime, trade like a bandit.